wherever he may be.
He is good. There he is.
So there's a handful that are here and a handful that are not here. And we like to let the students speak for themselves, so I'll speak for those that aren't here. But Pat, if you want to start off, everybody here tonight was either a champion or reserve champion at the county fair this last week. And I'll say one of the things that we're probably most proud of is that you've got a lot of champion and reserve champion showmen. So that means that our students tend to business when it comes to raising the livestock, and they're the day they go into the ring isn't the first time, which you can't say that for every exhibitor. So Pat, if you want to lead us off.
So I had a very, very fortunate fair. This was one of the better ones that I've had, actually. So to start off with, Saturday night this past week, I showed in the horse show. I was in the stock horse division, and I was honored to get reserve champion senior stock horse. And in case you didn't know, stock horse is basically ranch work. They've got a couple of classes where you've got to rope a couple of calves, and then you've got to box a couple of calves, which is just like a cat and a mouse going up and down fence. And so I reserve champion in that, and actually Karina Solinger, who is not in FFA, she was champion, so another Rogers was on there. That's great. Tuesday, that same week, I was honored to have the reserve champ lightweight market goat, which they break that goat show down into 3 divisions, and it's the lightweight, the middleweight, and heavyweight. And I was second in my class. My sister was also in my class, which was kind of competitive, but it is what it is. I ended up beating her, and it was reserve champ lightweight, and made it back to the Grand Drive. I just got to go in the ring. Kind of nice. But that was the first time that I'd shown a goat and made the sale since 2019, which had been a drought.
What are you, a senior?
I'm a G.
You're a G.
I've got one more year left.
Bragging a little bit, you said drought, but you've been Grand Reserve in that stock horse thing since it started.
That's the one.
You're just meaning drought with the oxygen.
And then Thursday, and I'll get off my soapbox. Thursday, I showed a heifer that I had bred and owned in a breeding heifer show, and she was champion American heifer, which I was pretty happy with. So that was my fair. It was pretty good.
Yeah, this is nothing compared to what you achieved, but this is what a certificate from your school award. We're very proud of you and for each of you. And one of our vision or mission statement for Rogers ISD is to challenge. And each of you in your own way challenge us to be better people. So we thank each of you for what you do. So Pat, if you will come around and shake Roger's hands. Congratulations.
So my name is Luke, and I showed 2 goats on market and a breeder on Tuesday. And my first goat got me 6th place, and then in showmanship, I got reserve grand champion, and then I got a belt
How
buckle.
many years have you been doing this?
This was my first.
First year.
And then on my other goat, on my market goat, I got 10th place, and I did not make showmanship, but I still got 10th place.
You didn't even take it off the shower, they tell you.
Oh, you're Oh my goodness. All the things that are going to come your way. You are just beginning, and your parents are just beginning. So huge congratulations to you, especially the sixth grade. That's amazing. Why don't you come around?
My name is Sam Richter. I got reserve champion in commercial heifers. We raised. Oh, I did get grand. Not reserve, but I did get grand. I got first. And we basically raised heifers for 260 days, and it's to teach us a lot about what the cattle market, what you're supposed to do to raise them, and what that's basically like. So I was fortunate to win the whole thing. It's the first year they ever had it. So it was really great.
All the different components that go into it.
We bought 5 heifers from Mr. Meisner, 3 black Angus and 2 red Angus, and we raised them for 260 days. They were bred 7 months at the time of sale in December. Pretty profit. I was very, very happy. Enough money to hopefully help me survive in college next year. So
Now, are you a junior, senior?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior, so that is really important. What are your plans?
I plan to attend Texas A&M and study.
I've heard you. Congratulations. Well. You will take a victory lap.
My name is Wally Kazonic. This was my first year to show in Bell County and showing steer. I was very fortunate to have a second place crossbred calf, and I was very fortunate to win an intermediate showmanship.
Big congratulations to you. And mom and dad, were they proud?
Yes.
I knew his mom when I was in Temple Aspect, so congratulations. Now, where are you in high school?
I'm an 8th grader.
You're in you're in middle school too. Goodness gracious. Y'all are gonna be amazing. We're already amazing. It just goes up from here. Incredible. If you will take a handshake.
My name is Naylee, and this week I'm new here. And this year was my first year entering into the Bell County Fair, and I got reserve champion on food preparations with my great grandma's recipe on pickles, and I'm a freshman.
Did you bring a sample?
I should have.
So what is the secret to a crisp cookie?
You don't have to answer that.
Oh, wow. Well, a lot of people are running for office right now. You can run for office. Probably win right now. I thought it was a great lead. Naylee, congratulations. And this is your first year in Rogers?
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations on being here.
Thank you.
Oh, no, no.
So I can run through just a handful of others that weren't able to make it tonight. And I'm gonna go species by species, but Riley Nash, she had the grand champion breeding swine. She had a beautiful Yorkshire pig that just grew too much, too fast, and was in that 300-pound range, which broke their hearts. I said, she's good. She's really good. Let's, run her breeding. And it worked in their favor. Not too many people walk away with the champion, obviously. So Riley Nash did that. Tatum Dillard she was the reserve champion showman, junior showman in the market swine. And if you know Tatum, she's only about this tall, but she can drive a pig with the best of them. She does a really good job. Emma Pitts had the grand champion, California breed champion in the breeding rabbits. Reese Nash, which is Riley's little sister, she was had a reserve division champion heifer, and she also was the reserve champion. She junior showman. Yeah, she wasn't intermediate just yet. And Tegan Parker, she was the reserve grand champion commercial heifer, right behind Sam, and then also reserve grand champion commercial steer, right behind Madeline Fox. So Madeline was the grand champion commercial steer. Pretty special, I think, in my opinion, Rogers FFA to have dominated the commercial steer and commercial heifer show. That speaks to our agricultural roots, because that's a real world those are real world contests. Some of these other contests, there's some smoke and mirrors and some s'mores and marshmallows, but with the Family Consumer Science, like Maylee participated in, if you've ever been in that exhibit hall, there's probably thousands, hundreds, if not maybe thousands of all types of projects. So Kira Yates had the reserve champion metal sculpture and then champion woodworking project. Nicole Muka had champion metal sculpture. Hudson Tucker had the reserve champion quick bread with vegetables. So they differentiate with or without vegetables. And then Caden Pitts had the champion coffee cake. He might share that recipe with you. Maybe. Okay. But we were well represented, and it's not Miss Williams and I that make it happen. The kids, it's the feet on the ground with the kids, but it's the community. It's the all the breeders in the area that trust our families. It's all the moms and dads and grandparents that get it done. And so we're pretty proud this year. It was a good year.
And Dr. Davey, the other thing is when you all presented, you presented extremely professionally. And I don't know if they practiced with you or if this was just on your own. But that skill also in life is just a huge skill. So not just the winning and the work that goes with the animals and stuff, but just your presentation and how you present yourself. Congratulations. Very
Thank y'all for what you do.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
All right, next item is to move on to public comments. Got 7 or 8 here to sign up. Remember, you need to sign up if you want to speak. Anyone wishing to address the board, please ensure you're signed in. Each speaker has 3 minutes. I'm posting to that tonight. And if several of you wish to address the same issue, you can select a spokesperson to speak to the group if you like. So public comments are welcome. However, they may not disrupt the meeting and won't be back and forth. We've got a little table set up here for you to address us by. And with that, we'll get started. I don't know if these are in any particular order other than the way they were handed to me. The first one up tonight is Mr. Josh Korn.
And I'm sorry for the height of the table. The higher I try, the whole top came off, so.
So
Josh,
my name,
hold on a minute, let me get your timer set up, not that you need it. All right, man, go ahead.
so board members who don't know me, I know a few of y'all might. My name is Joshua Corey. I'm a senior here at Rogers High School. I'll start off by saying I really deeply care about this community. My family is very deeply rooted in Rogers. My grandfather served nearly 2 decades on the school board. My dad and my uncle both went from K through 12 all the way to the Rogers system. My older brother and my cousin also did, and of course I will be too. I serve on the Honor Society. I'm president here, and I think it's very important that we look over our decision for the upcoming superintendent, because leadership can really have a big impact on a community. I fear that something could happen similar to what happened to my mom. Unfortunately, there was some poor leadership and some toxicity going on in a certain campus. And after my mom teaching there for almost 12 or over 12 years, it sort of drove her out a little bit. She didn't have the same passion for the job that she really enjoyed. She connected with kids and she loved it. And so now, unfortunately, she has to drive nearly 30 minutes every day to teach in Rosewood. And I fear that if we lose a certain somebody, Dr. Moses, that there will be the same ordeal at the high school, like it was similar to what happened in elementary. Leadership can change and bad things will happen. You'll lose teachers and you'll lose loving teachers that truly care for their students and that truly make a connection. And I think that'll make or break a school district. It's hard to see my mom come around. She really enjoys Rogers. She loves Rogers, just as my whole family does. And I fear that losing somebody like Dr. Moses would start a trend of a sinking ship in Rogers. And I fear that with him being gone, he can almost call that a nail in the coffin, because it would go downhill very, very fast. And even dare I say, when I walk that stage on May 23rd, I'll be the last Korean to ever go through Rogers. And I don't want that to be, because when I grow up, I want my kids to come here. I want my brother's kids to come here. I want my cousin's kids to come here. So I really want to maintain that Rogers feel. Rogers, I don't want it to change. And I fear that losing him, it could change, because he's a great man. He's done a lot for me. He's changed my life. And outside of my own father, Dr. Moses might be the most influential man in my life. He's changed who I am as a person. He's a fellow Aggie. He's a very, very well-educated man. And I think he would do a very, very good job as our superintendent. That's all I have. Thank you.
Time and Josh, you have about 3 seconds left, Josh. All right, next form I have here is for Miss G.
I would ask a little bit of grace on the 3 minutes, maybe 30 seconds. Maybe. I even wrote it all down. So I can see focus. Dr. Battleshow, board members, I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude for your commitment in selecting the new Rogers ISD superintendent. But with that said, I would like to share a few of my thoughts in regard to 2 concepts, one being commitment and one being home. Commitment. What determines commitment? Where you graduate from? How many years you hold a position? Continuing your education? Moving your family to where you are employed? Layering your professional experience? Teacher, coach, assistant principal, athletic director, principal. Well, how about this? Holding the door open. Thank you. Holding the door open every morning to welcome students in. Walking the halls every passing period to talk with students and teachers. Going to athletic events and announcing the athletes. Leading the class chants during pep rallies. Driving a bus as needed for various events. Stopping all principal duties and changing tires of parents and teachers as needed. Feeding students from one's own wallet at academic and athletic events. Being the last to leave events even when hosting or not hosting or having administrative duties. Covering classes for teachers who are called out for other responsibilities. Being able to be available throughout the night during events like prom and graduation. Meeting with grade level groups to discuss their responsibilities as young men and women and in the classroom. Going to the ER or hospital to check on students when injured. knowing the name of every single student. This is just a fraction of the high school principal's commitment, Dr. Moses, always putting students' needs first. So, home. What constitutes home? After 15 years in one district, I thought I was coming home. 4 generations of my family have walked these halls. That is what I told everybody. I'm home. This is my 24th year in education. I have learned during the last 7 years here at Rogers. It's not the town, it's not the campuses, and it's definitely not the buildings, or how many generations my family have been at Rogers ISD that makes this environment home. It is the students who fill the classrooms, the teachers who cultivate and facilitate learning, colleagues who respect and value each other, the relationship between students and teachers, the relationships between students and administrators, the relationship between teachers and administrators. Teachers being valued, not for their testing results, but the relationship formed with students. The principal seeing you for who you are as an educator and allowing the flexibility and creativity in the classroom that we so desperately need to stay invested in this profession. I came from a district that was micromanaged. Every aspect of my teaching stripped me of any.
Can I donate my time to her?
I can donate 30 seconds of mine too if I need to.
And we
Go for
can
it,
take.
she can finish, she can have her time.
Sorry. I came from a district that micromanaged every aspect of my teaching and stripped me of any personal ownership of the students' learning. Dr. Moses saw a broken educator and took a chance on me just the same. I found myself hesitant to make decisions for the classroom without asking permission. And Dr. Moses would always respond, "You are the expert in your subject. As long as you make decisions that are in the best interest of the students, I will always support you." How refreshing and rewarding to be viewed as an equal and not as a subordinate. Our principal values our positions and our roles in the classroom. Our collective voice is heard and appreciated by Dr. Moses. We are not just teachers. We are facilitators, confidants, counselors, mentors, colleagues, caregivers, life coaches, and a family by choice. This is all because of our current leadership. It takes a village in today's world to raise the children of Rogers ISD. His commitment elevates our commitment, and therefore it's not a job, but a calling and a responsibility to the student body of Rogers. Otherwise, without Dr. Moses' commitment and leadership, this is just a school of buildings, and we are just teachers that are easily replaceable. So I leave you with this. Asking questions versus questioning. Come visit our campus. Walk the halls. Join our classrooms. Witness our commitment and see our home. I hope you make decisions for the district that would be made in the best interest of the student body and not any independent or personal reasoning or agendas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. G. Appreciate everything you do for us and the kids. All right, next up is Ms. Alexander.
I'd like to start and say, I wish that I had similar experiences at this school district. I'm not here to talk for or against Dr. Moses. I'm here for a completely different reason. For 7 years, I've been fighting this school to have them do what they're legally obligated to do, and that is to respect our religious beliefs. Simple things such as attendance. I'll read to you something that came from Joe Pereira at the TEA, which was recently sent to me. There is no limitation to the number of holy days you can claim for the state ADA, as long as you have proper documentation in the event of an audit. I've been told for quite some time that my children were not allowed to have religious holy days as excused absences because of an audit. I've requested for years for the superintendent, for the principals, the admins, marking the attendance, please contact the TEA. And nobody did. I know I emailed everybody here on this board, and I know that it said that I was going to file a formal grievance. I didn't need to because somebody actually reached out to the TEA. I don't know who it was, but I really appreciate it. Because if you can imagine, 7 years is a long time. It wasn't only about attendance. It's a bigger issue. I've had threats of detention for my children. Saturday detention. We go to church on Saturday. We are Sabbath-keeping Christians. Removal from UIL. Removed from participating in football games. I'll only give you one example because I'm limited on time. My son Samuel, he came back from when we were gone for the holy days. He went to practice, did everything he was supposed to do, was getting ready for a game 2 hours away. The coaches came up, took his helmet, told him to take off his gear because he hadn't bothered to attend practice for the last week. He was being punished to get on the bus and not contact me. I asked for a public apology because this was done in the locker room in front of all of the other students. I never got one, even though I had the guarantee from Mr. Craig and Coach Roten, I believe, at the time. It never happened. And finally, I just let it go because after 2 weeks, what kid wants this brought up publicly? I have things here highlighted. Everything that's highlighted, I sent to the school about what days are allowable, how that the school needs to list things in their system, and how that they were discriminating against us. This school needs to have training from the admins to the teachers to the principals to the administrators to the board so that they understand how to do this. We're different. We may be the only different ones here, but that doesn't mean that you aren't legally obligated to uphold our religious beliefs. And I have sent this information every year and it gets ignored. And all I want is for this school to do what they need to do. I would actually like an apology, but I don't think I'm gonna get one. Thank you. Oh, yes. Or should I leave it? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us, Ms. Alexander. And we'll move on to the next, is Ms. Sherry Sunbach.
I donated my time.
You donated all
Do
to
I
her?
need to, I mean,
No.
I can still talk if you want to hear me. I know y'all do.
I mean, I know you share the same sentiments as Ms. G.
I do, absolutely. I'm here to support Dr. Moses. And
We'll move on
We'd
the
like to
next.
hear it. Just kidding.
We're gonna
If
move
you
on
have
to-
time, we wouldn't mind letting her speak.
We're gonna move on to Ms. Reardon.
I'll carry the torch.
Let me get the time down, Ms. Reardon. All right.
I'm Debbie Reardon, and I'm here tonight to say that I, like many other people in the community, know that the school board is elected to represent the feelings of the community. I think in finding a new superintendent, it's important for you to hear directly from the community. And because I'm a substitute for the district, I get to travel around to all the campuses and get involved with all the different teachers and students and staff at those campuses. And through that, I get to talk to a lot of different people and hear their opinions on things. I wanted to come here today to share with you that I feel like I represent a large population of those people by saying Dr. Moses is highly respected in this community. He's well thought of, and I don't think you'd find many people that have a disagreement with him because he will talk to you about whatever your disagreements are and try to come to a resolution. I know that I went to the community forum meeting that was offered to be able to share what the community thinks should the qualities of the new superintendent should be. And I feel like from that, Dr. Moses checked off every one of the qualifications that the community was looking for. But on top of that, I feel like he brings something to the community that when you're checking off the boxes for all the other applicants, you will find that he brings that none of those people can, and it's the love that he has for this district. He's involved in the district, his family's here, he's planted here, and I think it would just be a huge loss to the community if we lose him as part of the community. And I know that we all know that's, you may not know, but I think Dr. Moses is not going to stay with us if he's not placed as superintendent because he's worked really hard for that position. Not only his involvement with the school, but he's gone and gotten all the certifications necessary for that and to make sure that he's qualified as well as anyone else. And I just ask that you will consider that. I'd like to be the voice for all those people that aren't here tonight that do support Dr. Moses and would like to be able to see him continue as the superintendent of our district.
And I just wanted to give this for them and ask you to consider that tonight.
Next up is Ms. Keitha Monasan.
I won't use all my time, so you can get the rest of it shared. Really, I'm here to speak on behalf of my children. My son is, United States Marine. He wanted a video call in. I can kind of see how that's not allowed, but he really couldn't be here. One of the reasons he is who he is a major influence from Dr. Moses. He highly respected him. My 10-year-old back there is here to support Dr. Moses. I've got a very sick junior at home that wanted to come, but since she didn't make it to school, she couldn't be here. These kids, I've had interactions with him, but to me, as a parent, you want to feel that the administrators treat you with respect, but it's not really about me. It's about the kids and how they feel, and that they feel important and respected, and that they feel that these people are respectable in turn. That makes sense. They listen to them. Amos and Amber both gave input on a potential employee, and he listened. How many people do that? How many elementary kids know the high school principal? Because he cares enough about everyone. That's just all I really want to say, why he should be chosen. What's my time left?
Minute 30 left.
Go.
Okay. Lucky y'all. As you all know me, I just met you today, but everyone else I've known for most of my life. So I'm very opinionated, and so when I give my opinion, I stand behind it. And for me to come here and give my personal opinion of Dr. Moses, it should say a lot, because the man, he gives everything he has for this school district. He volunteers to coach kids that aren't his. The first time I had anything to do with him school-wise was when my daughter, who's sitting over here, was going to freshman orientation, scared to death. She was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So you're gonna be fine. Well, he made it fine. He took those kids, got them out of their comfort zone, and made them comfortable with going into being a high school student. That's just one of the things he does. He goes out of his comfort zone. He wears a daggone sparkly jacket to a high school pep rally. I don't have the guts to do that. He does, and he rocks it. That's the kind of motivation he brings, not only to the students, but also the staff. And so you mentioned challenge, and I would like to challenge you all to just listen to him, all of us talking about him and the wonderful things he does for our community. He is vested with us, and he is a God-fearing man that I believe has the ethics, morals, and integrity to lead our school where it needs to
All right, last form I have here is from Mr. Helmer. Go ahead, sir. What's yours?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Luke Helmer. I'm a former student here at Rogers ISD. Went to school here, K through 12. I had Dr. Moses as a principal for my high school years. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys may have heard a lot of negative things that have been being passed around lately about Dr. Moses. But to me, that's all hearsay. It's all through the grapevine, so I'm only going to speak on my experiences with him. All throughout high school, Dr. Moses was a huge influence to me. He's always, it's like other people said, he's holding the door open for students every morning. He would talk to us in the hallways. He would come in and check in on us during class. He's always had such a great connection with his students, and especially me. My senior year here, I started what one could call a pep squad for the football team and some of the other sports teams here, and made up T-shirts and everything, just a very silly get up to show school spirit. And Dr. Moses was willing to participate in that for school spirit and to have a connection with the students. There's not many others that I feel would do that to connect with the students. And that this isn't to say that I've only had quote unquote positive experiences. I had my fair share of trouble while I was in school too. I was in Dr. Moses' office a couple times, but the thing about that to me is that I knew I was in the wrong. Well, what I was doing to find myself in his office was me in the wrong. And Dr. Moses had treated me fairly, like he would any other student up there, and did his job. I know you guys have a lot of applicants to consider for this new superintendent's position. But I feel personally like we have the perfect man for the job right here in this school right now, in this community. So I would just hope that you guys would strongly consider Dr. Moses for that position, for all that he's done for me, all that he's done for the rest of the students, and all that he's done for really the community here at Rogers. Thank you.
Hey Keith, we did sign in late. But
I saw you get up. Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to go ahead and?
yes, we would.
We're late, we didn't know where even was really was.
Oh.
Because our roots are not here, Fulton Academy. That's essentially a lot.
It does.
Most
Definitely.
Yeah.
Are you
I don't
signing?
know what the form, I'd sign that.
Before you leave.
Oh, we'll sign
We'll
this.
do that. Yes, we'll be happy to do that.
No problem. Just don't get record of it. All right. I'm gonna
So-
go to the floor. You're good. Great.
So someone said earlier, 4 generations here, our roots aren't here, it's about 10 miles down the road. We were at Green Gold for 4 decades. We thought about, actually about 6 years ago, when my oldest, who's now 20, was 14, we thought about coming to Rogers. Because when we came here, played them, Rogers felt like Academy did when we was in high school. Still small town community, small town feel. Everybody knows everybody, which they do in Academy somewhat, this grown and it's just changed. We decided we would possibly move to Rogers at that point in time. 2 of our kids, the one that's here now and the one that was oldest at the point in time, said, let's go, we're ready. We'll be an Eagle. My middle said no. I was like, well, I'm not separating my kids. Parents who do that are crazy. Well, look, here I am. So I have a senior right now at Academy, but it's because this is a better place for her. That's the main reason we came. Number one is the community, what we saw in Rogers. It was not changing, and which is a good thing. It's change definitely brings growth, it brings a lot of trials. And I know they're here, they're everywhere, but I didn't see it. I felt like I said, this is a good community to raise my kid in. She's been wonderfully happy since then. The other 2 reasons, I don't know if I said there's 3, there's other 2 reasons that we came here, and that is number 1, Dr. Moses, and number 2, Beth Moses. And it's not because they're just our friends for the last 5 years. They are our friends, but it's because I see the same respect, like everybody's talking about, the integrity, how he treats kids with respect. He earns respect, even when he's disciplining them, because he's doing the right thing. I mean, no matter how hard it is, he also connects with the kids, and that's what I know he does. I've seen it outside the school walls. So, again, we came here because, like I said, mainly because of this couple and this man, and we hope he stays.
I just want to add one little thing. We're coming here to promote for Levi Moses and the Moses family. And what I see is there's a lot of people here that want him to be here, to fill this position. And he's, to me, in my mind, he's overqualified for this position. And to be honest with you, if you don't select him, you're going to lose a really great man, okay? I mean, he's my brother in Christ, okay? But at the same point in time, I don't see anybody that's talking about him not being here. They don't want him here. And so we're to me, I guess the question is why? Why are we doing this? I mean, you have a man that is qualified for the position, very good for the kids, proven to the kids, proven to the community. We're 4 generations of Academy coming to this community because we believe in what he does and we trust in what he does. And to me, I have my 2 older kids were boys. They're different, get it. Women, but girls are way different. And I'm telling you right now, I would I would let him take my daughter anywhere with him. I just want y'all to leave.
Appreciate you sharing. Is anybody else that didn't know they needed to sign up, that wants to sign up and speak at this time? Ms. Shackelford, would you like to make sure you get a form to us before you head out?
I will, I signed the wrong form too. I actually debated on whether or not, oh, there is one, it's fine. I'll be quick.
I'm ready.
I debated on whether or not I was gonna do this because I actually do teach at this district but I've also known the Moses family for a really long time. One of the reasons I too was an Academy Bumblebee. I taught there for 22 years before I came to this district. And this is my third year here. Let me say this. I loved my job at Academy, but I truly loved my job here. But I also know in the 3 years that I've been here, I've seen how Dr. Moses makes an effect or has an effect on all the students here. I've come back and forth to this admin office, but I look around and I see students who praise him for what he does, who follows him as a leader. And I guess my deal is, as a bystander that's coming into somewhere that's fairly new, I'm trying to find out why, or I don't understand why you are not growing your own.
Yes.
You have a person who has been here, who's definitely invested in this district. I mean, I think it's 11 years, right? Or if not longer. His kids have started here since the very beginning. They have grown up. He has the same beliefs of this community. And I'm trying to understand why you are not growing your own. You have somebody that is going to take care of your kids, who's going to take care of every one of these kids that are here. He knows what I agree with Mr. Tomasic. Mr. Tomasic, he is very overly qualified and he is a very, very, very smart man. And there's been lots of times me going back to grad school that I can call him or text him, or I can ask him questions and he can give me an answer that quick. He knows your laws. He knows what is right, what is wrong. I seriously think this board needs to, once again, me coming in as someone who is from an outsider looking in, you guys don't realize how good you have it.
Amen.
And I'm telling you that. So just out of support for him, but also for this district, I like this district, but I can tell you, it's very scary whenever things start moving in different directions. And I get growth, I do. But you don't have the growth, that was so fast over where I came from. It was a big jump. Not to say that this is not gonna grow either, but wouldn't you rather have somebody that is leading this growth in the right direction, the way that he's been leading it since he's been here? So I want you guys to think about that. And I just wanted to show my support. I wasn't gonna talk, and I actually did sign in, and I was coming because I'm doing hours for grad school, but listening to everybody, and I've thought really long and hard about it, and I just feel like it's the right thing for me to say. As an educator that works here at this district, I've seen a lot in the last 3 years, and that is a bonus. Plus, his wife is one, excuse my language, one heck of a STAD teacher, and those are very hard to come by. So.
All right, so that ends the public comment section. And you're welcome to stick around.
Well, let's try that again. By the way, I'm not leaving.
Thank you guys. Road agent.
First day or so, we gotta talk to you a bit later.
You don't wanna hear what I
I'm good, how are you? All right, you ready to move on? All right, so item 5, our information items, 5A is our superintendent's report. Turn it over to Dr. Green.
All right, first category is governance. We will have board and campus visits on March the 6th from 9 to 10. You can come, please come. I know it's during the workday, and all of you work, so whatever you can do that. We will start at the elementary school and go from there. Second one is the superintendent's application review will be Monday, March the 18th, at 6 p.m. So please mark your calendars for that. Because of that, the regular March board meeting will need to be moved to Wednesday, March the 20th, at 6:30 p.m. All of this will go on record and will go on to the YouTube video, and so the community can hear all these dates. Board training hours, they are due, Keith has to announce them in April. So we're gonna go on the honor system on your hours right now. So please turn those in as soon as you can so that we can tally those up, see if there's any holes, take care of those, and then get those to Keith to report in April. They have to be announced on the meeting prior to the uniform election day. I gave you notes on team building session that was held on February the 15th. I think it was excellent. Board election, there are 4 individuals that have filed for 2 positions: Brandon Mark, Keith Caldwell, Moody Glasgow, and Jesus Mejia. The deadline for filing was 4 p.m. on Friday, February the 16th. Board committee dates, first board policy committee meeting is this coming Thursday, the 22nd at 5. I know that's a little early, but we'd already posted the meeting. So once y'all meet, do what you can. Once you meet, if you wish to push that and make that later, then feel free. On the agenda items for that, and that is Sarah, Trey, and Jake Music will serve on the policy committee. For this coming one on February the 22nd, the board SOP manual will be ready for your review. Taping of board meetings and link time those tapes which will be retained. And the one on ENP local school library books, that will be taken off. I visited with legal counsel this morning, and she said that they can be delayed until another date. That TASB will be sending out some templates for that, and so I don't know why it was a March 15 date someplace in the state, but she said you don't really have to do that, just wait till you get the TASB stuff. And then the March, you may want to add that, but I've got EIC local on the March meeting. Board facilities meeting is February the 26th, and we think Brad's gonna talk about that later, so I won't say anything else about that one. Underneath curriculum, site-based committee met. We have 3 calendars that we're looking at right now that will meet again in about a week, and 2 of those will go out for a survey for staff. And then we'll either have to choose calendar A or calendar B. We can't have modifications of each. It will have to be one or the other. The committee will decide what they wish to do. The other thing they recommended that will be coming to you as an action item is the Rogers ISD Foundation. So that's coming up. Student services, superintendent student advisor will meet in a couple of weeks. I have those names, and Cindy and Levi are notifying students of those. Solar farms is ongoing. I've given you lots of information on that, and I won't belabor that point tonight, but more to come on that one. There is a hearing tomorrow morning. Jason will be going to that meeting in my stead. I went to the last one, and there will be one more this month. Those hearings are for the beginning of solar farms. There are right now 5 on the plat. Obviously, 1 is already in, 4 more in the wings to see what will happen with those. High school plumbing, I'm pleased to say that we've approved the bid to fix that over there, and it's supposed to be completed by the end of spring break, so thank you, Jason, for that. ELC playground, we've approved purchase of equipment for that, and she is choosing colors for her playground equipment, but other than that, that will be going in soon. Human resources timeline for superintendent search. I talked to George Costanzas on Friday. There are currently 17 completed applications for that. He anticipates quite a few more prior to Wednesday, March the 6th. Voting to name the finalist is on Tuesday, April the 9th. The vote to hire is on Thursday, May the 2nd. The first date for that individual to begin is to be determined. You received the enrollment and attendance update. Enrollment is up by 3 students to 891. Oddly enough, that's the highest of the year. That's kind of unusual for school districts. Attendance is down, it's 95.55. It's going to take another dip. There's just lots of diseases going around out there. Financial report. Anticipated revenue, we've received 65% of the tax revenue. We received 59.47% of total revenue projections, and we are tracking on expenditures. Are there any future agenda items that I need to consider at this point in time? Thank you.
One question I had back on you mentioned the meeting, is that like a Bell County Commissioners meeting or something? You jumped up
Yes,
there?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Every time they're going to do an abatement or tax reinvestment zone for one of the solar farms, they have to do a public hearing. I think going last time surprised that someone showed up. That's what I've heard several times. So anyway, we're going to surprise them again tomorrow with Jason. We don't always have to say anything, but they need to know that we're watching and it is important. And we want to see what's best for our school district and for our kids. We're doing your budget meetings this summer. I will be gone, but we are going to ask Dan Mahoney to come back and talk with you about the impact on your INS and your tax rates. Even though you probably won't see much of the impact on INS, you will. And he's going to talk to you about resolutions. You've seen some information on that. And so he will be here for part of your finance meeting. Any other questions for me? Thank you for my first month. It's been fun working with you. And y'all want to do it right. You're working so hard and doing it. So I commend you. You're doing a good job.
Thank you. All right, so let's move on to the consent agenda. Everybody have it so we can read through the minutes and all. Any questions or comments on that, corrections? No?
We have minutes and then you have that one budget amendment too. So when you approve, if you can approve the consent agenda, we can all those
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
That's what we.
So JP?
JP moved. Do I have a second? Mr. Mark? Any other questions or comments on that? Before we take a vote? That's good. All in favor, show of hands. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries, so moved. All right, we can move on to our action items. The first action item is the consideration and approval of the district stance on Senate Bill 763, which are for unlicensed religious chaplains.
Normally I would take this to policy committee, but I found out Friday morning. It's because my husband was reading the newspaper. So apparently by March the 1st, we are supposed to submit to the state what we're going to do regarding unlicensed religious chaplains. And this is part of Senate Bill 763. So what I did is we had a Bell County Superintendent's meeting on Friday. And so I canvassed the superintendents in the room to see what they were doing. There's 3 options underneath Senate Bill 763. Option 1 is that you allow unlicensed chaplains to come into counseling positions in the school district. Option number 2 is that you have unlicensed chaplains that volunteer as chaplains in the school district. And option 3 is that you have unlicensed chaplains that can volunteer as other volunteers do in the school district. So you're going to get the other superintendent's take on it, and then you're going to get my opinion on it. When I canvassed the other superintendents, 6 of the 8 in the room, I being number 8, said that they were going to choose option number 3. One of the superintendents said that they were going to do option 1, that unlicensed chaplains could be counselors, but he also noted that they probably would never do that. So I feel like especially during this interim period, I don't want to take a huge step. I think that needs to be the new superintendent's step. You can always, through local policy, decide that you want to bring chaplains in the future. But at this point in time, I would recommend to you the third option, which is that chaplains, and these are unlicensed chaplains, can come in and just a regular volunteer capacity within the school district. Again, you can go back later and change it at a later date. Okay, so that's my recommendation. I do want to say this for the future, and I do get licensed because I'm an interim. When you have an unlicensed anyone that comes into the school district, that concerns me. If someone's licensed, it doesn't bother me as much, but unlicensed does. The second thing is what a chaplain does and what a school counselor do are two very, very, very different things. And I used to be the executive director for communities and schools, and we had a lot of flexibility as to the degrees for people when we hired them, and all of them were master's degrees. But I found, and I hired some chaplains, but I found that their skill set was really different than people that had a psychology degree, that had a counseling degree, that had a social work degree. Those were all very unique niches. So for the future, whenever you start working with a new superintendent, I would, if you're going to go option one in the future, I would be real careful with that. But tonight I'm recommending to you option two. Are there any questions for me on that one?
Why is it there are some not licensed? What is that about? Is that their second job, or is that not what they do full time, or?
There are some churches, and they're small churches generally, that have someone that's in a chaplain capacity, but they are not licensed for that. This law, and I'm gonna give you the politically correct answer. This law was devised for very, very small school districts that may have difficulty finding school counselors. JP, and I think that is true. I think there may have been other motives to it, but that was the reason it was given. There is truth to it. You're welcome. Other questions?
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the interim superintendent's recommendation that chaplains may serve as any other community member does in a district volunteer position? Got a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Cox, motion from Ms. Fox. Any other questions or comments before we take a vote? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Action item 10B is to consideration and approval of signatures for bleacher financing.
This is one that Mr. Craig left. The Buckholz Bank needs to have 2 signatures on the loan documents, and those 2 are generally the board president, Keith Caldwell, board secretary, Dr. Ricker. So I bring that to you as a recommendation.
And my understanding was, we approved that, but then,
Yeah, I can't remember.
but then that's the same night that, Joe resigned, so he could actually sign the paperwork. So
I guess that's
all
correct.
we're approving those for us to sign.
That we already voted on.
Yeah, it's not the bank or it's not the
Yeah.
financing tray, it's really to have the 2 signatures.
Just the signature, yeah. That's what All right, any other questions on that? All right, do I hear a motion to approve the interim superintendent's recommendation to approve the board president and secretary to sign for the bleacher financing for Buckholz First National Bank?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Secretary. Second. Mrs. Fox. Any other questions or comments before we take a vote? All in favor, show of hands. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. All right, action item 10C is to consideration and approval of the Rogers ISD Foundation.
This is coming out of site-based. I should have had one of them present. I will next time. Whenever we do calendars, one of them will present. But One of the discussions was setting up a Rogers ISD Foundation. The two purposes of that would be innovative teaching grants and also student scholarships. We have $2,000 that has been donated by an anonymous donor to kick off the innovative teaching grants probably this spring. So if approved, then there are 5 initial people on the foundation board that will expand over time, but you have to have kind of a startup group to get going. A lot of foundations operate separately from school districts. This would not be one, it would be underneath the school district budget, but it will not be funded by school district taxpayer dollars. This will be funded by donations or a fundraiser that they may do. As the foundation grows, which I anticipate that it will, then that may break out and become its own 501c3, but right now that's just too big a thing and it's expensive to do that. So I bring to you for the district site phase, the Rogers ISD Foundation. Now, they may change the word of it, whenever they need to approve that concept. They may do the Eagles Foundation or whatever they choose.
Is this similar to like Temple has a TEF, Melton has a TEF, so.
Correct. And those are bigger districts.
Yes.
So, when I went into both of those districts, I mean, they already had a foundation going. At Salado, they did not. And so we started again with a very, very small group of people. And they put all kind of the pieces together. The first year or two, they weren't separate. They didn't have their own 501c3. But then after they did their first fundraisers and really got going, then they formed their own. And they're still growing strong. They used to have their, I think they still do, their fundraisers out of 10 Rock. They'll generate $75,000 a year in fundraisers. Temple ISD, Troy absolutely has one. Temple ISD, to give you an idea, my first year there, I think they raised I'm gonna say $50,000. This last fundraiser, which was a distinguished alumni, I think they raised $225,000. Now, bigger city, bigger district, but that distinguished alumni thing really caught on because people want to honor their own. Encourage not honoring your own. It's a great time to do that. And so that's what they used as their only fundraiser now. They don't do it. It has tremendous potential for Rogers ISD. You want teachers to be able to provide materials and supplies, because so many teachers, they go out and they take it out and check books. And if we can, even if it's $100 or $250 for a lot of teachers, that's a lot of money. And we can do some really cool, creative things in the classrooms. And again, if it's approved, we'll take out the big checks and we'll pick up the balloons and we'll go present those scholarships or those innovative teaching grants to teachers this spring.
That's good. Let's see what the headlines. I don't see any downside to it.
I haven't hit you up for money yet.
Distinguished alumni. All right, so do I hear a motion to approve the interim superintendent's recommendation to approve a Rogers ISD Foundation? Motion for Mr. Green and second for Mrs. Foss. Any other questions or comments on that? If not, all in favor, show of hands. Any opposed, same sign.
Congratulations, Sarah.
Motion carries 7-0.
You can write the check now or later.
I mean, we fundraise for other stuff throughout the school, whether it's Project Celebration. We just had the youth fair at Eastville County or Cattle folks.
Or try to convince your family about that, just don't say extra money, because that's not a good word. Extra money.
Temple over time, they had lots of different entities that did individual scholarships. And then those entities decided to come into the Temple Day Foundation. And so they still have those named scholarships for NAACP and some of the other lines of other attention. But now the administrative piece of it is all within the Temple Education Foundation. And so it's put some ability that, you have maybe a really needy kid, that TEM can give them multiple scholarships to jack that up for different entities. So that happened over years. Thank you, that's great. That's good.
All right, so let's move on to item 10D, which is the consideration and approval of the 2023-2024 Professional Development Waiver Day of March 14th, 2024.
And my bad, March 15th. Thank you, Sarah, for letting me know that. In the fall, we missed a day here, I think because of power or electrical or something like that in September, and that was made up in the fall. Mr. Craig had applied for 5 potential professional development labor days for this year, so that was already done, application was done, but we haven't used all of them. So when we missed the day because of plumbing, when the big freeze came through, then we didn't have another day designated to make up for that day. So really the easy solution on the district side basis for us is to make the March 18th, which was just a teacher training day, into a professional development labor day. Teachers are going to be here anyway. It's going to be high quality, and MDOT is putting together an incredible program for that day. We're really excited about it. The Ruby Payne training, and that's just tremendous for all of our teachers. So it won't change kids' schedules. It really won't change teacher schedules, and it will still make it up for that one.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve the interim superintendent's recommendation to approve March 18th, 2024 as a professional development recommendation?
Also move.
Motion from Mr. Martin. Second, Mr. Cox. Any other questions or comments on that? Seeing none, all in favor, show of hands. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. All right, item E, which is the consideration and approval of continuing disclosure services.
Disclosure services are required for all bond money, and Rogers ISD has used Dan Mahoney for several years. He's changed companies, and I will cover that in a minute. But Tracy and I interviewed him last week, and he certainly had the expertise. I was very impressed with his answers to that. So we are recommending that we use Dan Mahoney to file for our disclosure services, and that file has to go out by the end of this month, the end of February. And you see his fee in your report packet.
Every time he's here, he's impressive. He knows the stuff inside and out. Even if we go for the extra questions, he finds the answer quick.
He knows you and he knows your history. He will be working with a couple of people on the solar farm stuff, and we visited it and we got that already.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve the continuing disclosure services?
So moved.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Shabinka, second from Mrs. Fox. Any other questions, comments on that? Oh, Dan, that's a good job. Usually brings much spreadsheets. Tries to explain to us. All right, all those in favor, show of hands. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. All right, item F is the consideration and approval of municipal financial advisor.
Dan had worked with Hilltop Securities prior. He has moved to Estrada Hinojosa and Company, and we feel strongly enough about him that it's worth changing to that company to retain his services.
Yeah, and then I talked to Dr. Becker. I think he kind of just switched. But he's switching again. I bet it's probably a pretty good opportunity. I think I saw somewhere in the writing as vice president of this new company. So I'm sure it's a good opportunity for him.
Now look at this kind of like attorneys. If you find a really good attorney, I don't care what the mothership is, you want to keep your good attorney. You have Dan. Dan's doing a very, very nice job for several years. He's just changed companies, but you keep him, so I don't worry about the company so much.
So if he's moving up with the company, he's still gonna have the availability of this.
I mean, he specifically, our contract is with.
Where will we be? Where's this new company at?
Long enough, they know where we're at. I want to say it's going down.
I need to clue, but I didn't.
Main office is in San Antonio, I think.
Hinojosa,
I'll let you know, President.
So,
Easy. Well, no, it's close to the river. Up the bottom.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve Dan Mahoney as our municipal financial advisor?
well, you're approving Estrada Hinojosa.
Yeah.
Well, then I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're approving the company.
Yeah,
So I just-
agreement with Estrada.
So do I hear a motion to
I
approve
make
the
a motion.
agreement with Estrada Hinojosa Company? Got a motion from Dr. Richard. Second, Mr. Green. Any other questions or comments? Hearing, seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Any opposed, same sign, motion carries 7-0. All right, item G is the consideration and approval of resolution regarding wage payments during emergency school closings.
Historically, you paid employees whenever we have emergency school closures, and so we just had to continue that practice.
So, I mean, we've done this in the past, is this something? we
Yes,
can
every
handle?
year.
Longest spring break history.
Yeah, that was now when we were
Oh,
done under
yeah.
contracts.
That's when we started doing
COVID crunch.
All right, so do I hear a motion to approve paying employees for the 2 emergency school closings that we've had so far this year?
I'll move.
Motion from Mr. Moore,
Second.
second from Mr. Shaminga. Any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. All right, item H, on that right? Yeah, it's the board facilities committee recommendations. They want us to consideration and approval of architectural firm process. I'll turn it over to Mr. Martin.
Yes, Dr. Battershell had myself and Cody and Chad up here, visited one time with Mr. Ken Boyd from Temple, we kind of went over some of the processes, and then the following Monday, I believe it was on February 5th, we sat down as a committee and went through the actual books, I guess you would call it, RFQs that they sent us, and we scored them. She sent that information to you guys, and after going through it, it was very obvious that 3 of them were the top 3 that we need to bring in an interview. And that's GLS, Claycomb, and Perkins and Will. They've done 2 of them. GLS and Claycomb have done work here in the district before, and then what Perkins and Will had basically down on paper was really hard to overlook their bond success. And some of the schools that they've worked with that look like Rogers, so Dr. Patterson's recommending, and I think that's a very good one, that we, as a group, sit down and interview these guys next Monday. What we say, 6:30 is the first one?
I guess it was 6.
6, okay. Okay, and all of y'all have what we kind of came up with as far as questions and things for those. I'm gonna ask some expertise from Dr. Battershell on this. Is this, after they do, they're gonna give us a 25-minute presentation, which we will score. There's a rubric there. And if there are no questions, or there are questions that we still have unanswered, in your opinion, is it best for one person to be asking the questions, or is it a kind of thing where we all just go around and see what we have?
I think you go around.
Okay.
You've got some real tight timelines on this.
Right.
But if you're gonna figure out really quick whether that's someone that's in your pod or not. So they're gonna do their presentation, they will time it at 25 minutes, so they won't be doing 20 minutes, and they will not be doing 30, if they've got 25, and you gotta cut them off. If they go late, they've got to cut them off, because they know ahead of time.
Now, Keith will still be leading the meeting, the interviews. Okay.
I'll be around if you have questions,
Okay.
but I'm not, getting at your interview. And then after that, you're gonna ask them the questions that are here, and you may want to assign that among all of you, whichever questions tends to
That's-
be out.
Yeah, that's kind of what, I was curious if that's best, and is that something we need to determine tonight?
so you've got certainly have time to plan.
And then we decide this meeting is next Monday, so we're trying to just to get ahead of that. And, I have no problem with any of the questions, so if somebody has one that, I don't know, Cody or John Paul, or something that's more of your wheelhouse or something.
I think it's good. I'm comfortable with either one, any of them.
Someone jump off, so I will.
How about I do the first one, if I'm,
Yeah.
if I gotta cut them off, I can say, hey, I got a question for you, and
Okay.
go from
I can do the second one, so that's fine with me.
I'll go for number 3, that's my name.
I'll do number 4.
Keith,
I'll go 5.
Keith, you
I
want
was
to-
holding out for third.
I'll go 6.
You want to do that last one, just to wrap it up?
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
You've got,
So
you
we
got
got,
7.
I'm
we
just,
got Cody and
So JP's doing 6,
And then Keith, you're gonna
and then we,
Chad.
And again, some of these questions will be already answered in their 25-minute spiel. So we could just add on to what they're already said or make
Just reiterate, yeah.
and I feel like just going through your interviews with one person, you ask 8 questions, 20 minutes, pretty tough. We can easily talk to a kid in college for an hour, just asking them some questions or so. So,
You gotta get in.
yeah, it'll be,
Now, I did
I
give
think
you-
we won't have any trouble
Yeah.
filling up the time with these
Yeah,
stuff.
I did give you some transition space, so I mean, if one goes over 5 minutes, you're fine, over that you start getting. Brad, you wanna talk to me about the references too?
About
For those
who's,
3?
yes, so, the 3 companies, myself, I took GLS, to reach out to some of the references. They gave us a list of, mine is pretty easy because it gives me a list of all the current and some of the most recent that they're doing. And so I know Bartlett and, Granger both with GLS, so I'll be reaching out to them. Cody took, Perkins and Will, and I know you said you've already reached out to people over Calvert.
Calvert, yeah, and the superintendent is no longer there. So they're on a superintendent search right now.
Dr. Batterfield, didn't you, you said that they were planning on coming, Perkins and Will?
Yes, they have scheduled an appointment, Jason's gonna help me with that on Thursday afternoon. They all had that option.
And they're the only ones that took you up on it, or? is there
They're
more?
going to take a look around campus.
They're here for 4 or 5 hours.
That's pretty important.
Which one was that was in come?
Perkins and Will, they're the ones, to my knowledge, that they haven't done work here before, so maybe it's.
Oh, maybe that's why they.
Maybe the other two are just familiar. And then Chad was gonna make some phone calls with Claycomb. I think Claycomb is building academies, school, is that correct?
They have a lot of bigger districts like San Marcos and things like that. That's why I kind of went with Calvert, but
Yeah.
everything else that I saw when I was going through the book was up there.
Lincoln's been around for a long time.
Yeah, and I don't think of the 3 that we picked, I don't know if there's one that's gonna be. I mean, there's not a bad one in the bunch, and I think whichever one we come to consensus on, obviously, would like to be unanimous, once it's presented to them. If somebody feels strongly about it, then we'll do that too.
You're gonna look for the fit for your needs, which you know you're gonna have some renovation in it. Don't know exactly where, but you know you're gonna have some renovation in it. This form, each of you will have 3 of these, one for each of the 3 finalists. And y'all will complete those, and I would suggest that you keep those until the end. And we'll put all those into the system off and have an Excel spreadsheet, and then you'll see your final tallies. And I always say, platinum tallies can be a starting point, but the discussion afterwards, I mean, if there's 1 or 2 points between 2, that's really negligible. So the discussion is really important, and it feels good.
You know, I know that, I mean, looking at when we scored these, the three, at 99, 96, 95, and another two. Close, but I didn't feel like there was even that, I mean, that's not a lot of difference, but I thought they would be within 1 or 2 points of each other. But just because, after going through it, the one that I felt like was the best fit for Roger was actually the second up from our group. And I don't know if anybody wants to get some sleep or not, but there's these books you can look here, we go through these RFQs.
And just to be clear, we will choose that night and offer that up.
Because you're already doing your reference checks, you've already done your paper review, this is your interview, so you've done all your
I think
steps.
that was the intention, that's why we got the interviews and then we pushed the board meeting to later, because to make that decision.
You three did a really nice job of going through that, 'cause that was a lot of work, to go through all those RFQs, so well done.
Thank you.
So,
You can bring forth a motion as the committee if you want to approve this process.
okay.
Can they make the motion for you and then you can move it?
Yeah.
Do I hear-
So the committee can make a motion.
Do I hear a motion to approve the board facilities committee recommendations for interviewing architectural firms?
I will approve that.
I'll second that.
A motion for Mr. Barnes, second for Mr. Connors. Any other questions or comments on that? Should be good night next Monday again. All right, all in favor, show of hands. Got 7 no's, so don't worry about opposite sign.
I want to thank Andy for taking minutes. Tracy will be taking your minutes. I'm trying to get the superintendent out of the role of taking minutes while the meeting's going on. It's just really difficult for a person to do that, or the board president or some of you. So, Tracy will normally do it, but she's at TASBO this week. And so thank you, Andy, for doing it.
Thank you. Mr. Good. All right, with that, I got time 7:53 and we're adjourned.
I don't like this meeting. I don't like the other one. Wait too long.
What you were doing back there.
I got it.
Oh, them are